In this lecture, I'm going to talk about an important technique for keeping the reader intrigued and reading, and that is foreshadowing. Foreshadowing offers a hint of exciting things to come in the story or dreadful things to come in the story. What you do is you hint at something that's going to happen in the future. In that way, you bring that exciting element forward into the present so that you can keep the reader reading and excited. In addition, they want to know about what you just hinted about. So they're going to keep reading to make it to what you're foreshadowing. And also, foreshadowing makes for a great cliffhanger. So you can use it in the place of a cliffhanger. Now, there are three techniques I want to talk about for handling foreshadowing. The first tip is to hint at exciting things to come in your story, like if only Ben had known what the day held for him. You know, what does the day hold for him? That intrigues the reader, and they want to read to find out what's going to happen to Ben today. The second tip is to present ominous forebodings. So the sky turned gray and lightning bolts cracked the ground, something like that. Or crows started to gather. Crows are always an ominous thing, or vultures. As Ted walked out into the desert, the vultures began to circle overhead. So ominous forebodings are a way of foreshadowing what's going to happen. You're giving, once again, a hint of things to come to excite the reader. And finally, once again, you can use foreshadowing as cliffhangers. So use them at the end of your chapter. Come to the end of the chapter and say, Ben looked out across the ocean and couldn't imagine what his trip was going to be like in the small dinghy. Something like that. Use that as a cliffhanger at the end of a chapter using foreshadowing. Now, what I want to do is I want to come over to Word and start showing you some of them. Let's review the cliffhangers that we talked about in the past, or the foreshadowing. If Johnny had known what the evening held in store for him, he would have stayed in bed with the covers pulled over his head, rather than ever venturing out. Now that's ominous, and it hints at what's going to happen during this day. What should he have stayed in bed hiding from? Here's another one. As the sun rose, the crows gathered as if anticipating a feast. Crows are always ominous. Do ominous foreboding things for foreshadowing. Let's look at another one. As the sun set, the president pressed the button to enable the Armageddon process. What's the Armageddon process? Well, I'm sure that the story is going to explain that later, but we're hinting at it now using foreshadowing to keep the reader reading. Now, with that said, we're going to look at next pacing, which is keeping the plot moving. What you want to do is you want to not have your plot slow down like a tortoise. And we're going to show you ways to keep that from happening.